We continue into 1 Corinthians chapter 12, where Shaul orders the assembly under the Spirit's sovereign distribution of gifts, destroys pride, inferiority within the body, and teaches that divine diversity must operate in covenant unity under one master. This chapter contains no explicit Tanakh citations. Even without explicit citations listed, the chapter stands firmly in covenant continuity. Yehovah has always formed a people assigned offering roles and required that no part of the whole despise another or exalt itself as self-sufficient. Shaul applies that same burden here through the language of the body. The Spirit gives differently, but never randomly. Diversity serves unity, and unity never erases distinction. False spirituality exposed, to one Spirit confessed, to gifts distributed, to body formed, to honor reordered, to unity preserved. One Spirit gives many gifts to build one body. Yehovah, teach us to discern your Spirit rightly. Free us from pride, comparison, and false spiritual measure. Make us living members of one body under the Master. Yehovah El Ruchot, God of spirits, who gives breath, order, and living function to his people by one Spirit. Yehovah El Ruchot, Kadosh, 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 holy, holy, holy. Please fill me and lead me, and cover me and stir me, and speak through me with your Ruach HaKodesh, your Holy Spirit, your set-apart breath, that I may speak your written words with boldness and humility to those who listen. I ask all these things in Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, the Messiah, the Anointed, the Aleph Natav's name. Amen. We'll start with the Shema. Listen and obey. Children of Yehovah, pay careful attention and respond. Yehovah is our power and authority. Yehovah works in unity, echad, with himself. And you shall act upon your love, ahava, to Yehovah with your power and authority, with your thoughts and mind, with your entire body, and with all the muchness that you have. Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. Hand, behold, now, behold. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. But brothers, I do not want you to go on being ignorant about the things of the Spirit. You know that when you were pagans, no matter how you felt, you were being led astray to idols, which cannot speak. Therefore, I want to make clear to you that no one speaking by the Spirit of God ever says, Yeshua, the Aleph Tav, is cursed, and no one can say, Yeshua, the Aleph Tav, Master, except by the Ruach HaKodesh. Now, there are different kinds of spirits, but the same Spirit gives them. Also, there are different ways of serving, but it is the same Master being served. And there are different modes of working, but it is the same God working them all in everyone. Moreover, to each person is given the particular manifestation of the Spirit that will be for the common good. To one, through the Spirit is given the word of wisdom, to another, a word of knowledge, in accordance with the same Spirit, to another, faith, by the same Spirit, to another, gifts of healing, by the one Spirit, to another, the working of miracles, to another, prophecy, to another, the ability to judge between spirits, to another, the ability to speak in different kinds of tongues, and to yet another, the ability to interpret tongues. One of the same Spirit is at work in all these things, distributing to each person as he chooses. For just as the body is one, just as the body is one, has made many parts, and all the parts of the body through many constitute one body, so it is with the Messiah. For it was by the Spirit that we all immersed into the body, either Jew or the nations, slaves or free, and we are given the one Spirit to drink. For indeed the body is not one part, but many. If the foot says, I am not a hand, so I'm not part of the body, that doesn't make it stop being part of the body. And if the ear says, I'm not an eye, so I'm not part of the body, that doesn't make it stop being part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, how could it hear? And if we're all hearing, how could we smell? But it is God who arranged each of the parts of the body exactly as it is. There are indeed many parts, yet just one body. So the eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you, or the feet to the head, I don't need you. On the contrary, the parts of the body that seem to be less important turn out to be all the more necessary, and upon body parts which we consider less dignified, we bestow greater dignity, and the parts aren't attractive are the ones that we make attractive as we can. While our attractive parts have no need we have no need for such treatment. Indeed, God has put the body together in such a way that he gives greater dignity to the parts that lack it, so that there will be no disagreement within the body, but rather all the parts will be equal concerned for all the others. Thus, if one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it, and if one part is honored, all the parts share in its happiness. Now now you together constitute the body of the Messiah, and individually you are parts of it. And God has placed in the messianic community first emissaries, second prophets, third teachers, then those who work miracles, then those with gifts of healing, with the ability to help, those skilled in administration, and those who speak in various tongues. Not all are emissaries, are they? Not all are prophets, are they? Or teachers? Or miracle workers? Not all have gifts of healing. Not all speak in tongues. Not all interpret, do they? Eagerly seek the better gifts. But now I'll show you the best way of all. Now, after having read the chapter, what is the Hebrew word that encapsulates this chapter? Echad, unity. This chapter presses the unity of the body without collapsing the distinct parts, the distinct gifts and functions given by the Spirit. Tanakh spine. There are no Tanakh citations here. Even so, the chapter carries clear covenant continuity. Yehovah has always ordered his people rather than leaving them as scattered individuals. He appoints, distributes, and binds together for shaped purpose. Shaul brings enduring pattern into the assembly. The Spirit does not create chaos, rivalry, or a self-importance, but a living body where each member is needed and more may boast. And none may boast. Chapter flow. Shaul begins by saying he doesn't want the Corinthians to be ignorant concerning spiritual matters, immediately signaling the need for discernment rather than excitement alone. He reminds them of their former pagan condition when they were carried away to mute idols, showing that not every spiritual atmosphere is truly from God. He therefore gives a foundational test. No one speaking by the Spirit of God says Yeshua is accursed. And no one can truly say Yeshua is master except by the Ruach HaKodesh. From there, Shaul turns to gifts, ministries, and working, stressing that though they differ, the same Spirit, the same Master, the same God are work in all. He says that the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each person for the common good, cutting off both private vanity and useless display. He then lists a range of Spirit-given workings: word of wisdom, word of knowledge, faith, gifts of healing, working of miracles, prophecy, discernment of spirits, various kinds of tongues, and interpretation of tongues. Yet all these are not self-produced possessions, and the same Spirit works all things, distributing to each one individually just as he wills. Shaul then moves to the body image, because gifts diversity can only be understood properly inside covenant unity. Just as the body is one and many members, and all the body through many are one body, so also is Messiah. In one Spirit, all were immersed into one body, Jew and Greek, slave and free, and all were made to drink of one Spirit. He then confronts inferiority inside the body. If the foot says, because I'm not a hand, I don't belong, that does not make it any less part of the body. He confronts the same false logic with the ear and the eye, showing the differences is not exclusion. Then he exposes the absurdity of uniformity. If the whole body were an eye, where would hearing be? And if hearing, where would smell be? God has arranged the members in one body, each one of them, as he desired. That destroys both envy and self-invention, because placement is divine, not self-assignment. Shaul then turns against superiority. He turns against superiority. The eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor the head to the feet, I have no need of you. In fact, the members that seem weaker are necessary. And those parts, though less thought less honorable, receive greater honor. The less presentable parts are treated with special modesty, while there are more presentable parts need no such covering. In this way, God has composed the body so as to give greater honor to the lacking part. The aim is that there is no division in the body, but the members have the same care for one another. Therefore, if one member suffers, all suffer together. If one is honored, all rejoice together. Shaul then applies the image directly. You are the body of the Messiah, individually members of it. He lists appointed functions within the assembly: emissaries, prophets, teachers, miracles, gifts of healing, helps, administration, and all kinds of tongues. He then asks a series of rhetorical questions to show that not all, share the same function or gift. The chapter closes by urging them to earnestly desire the greater gifts while preparing the way for the more excellent path that follows. Spirit discerned, to gifts distributed, to body formed, to weak honored, to division denied, to common good pursued. Core theme. Shaul's burden in this chapter is to restore right thinking about spiritual life. The Corinthians are in danger of measuring spirituality by spectacle, superiority, or visible impressiveness. Shaul answers by grounding all true spiritual life in one confession: Yeshua is master, and one source, the Ruach HaKodesh. Anything that inflates the self or fragments the body has already gone off course. The chapter then makes a decisive move. Gifts are real, varied, and divinely distributed, but none of them exist for private self-importance. The Spirit manifests himself for the common good. That means no member may define himself by envy, and no member may exalt himself in contempt of others. Inferiority and superiority are both disorders of vision. The body belongs to God, and he arranged it as he pleases. The weight of the chapter falls especially on honor. The parts that seem weaker are necessary. The parts thought lesser receive special regard. This is Yehovah's way. He composes the body so division is healed and mutual care becomes visible. Spiritual maturity, then, is not proved by how remarkable gifts appear, but by whether the whole body is strengthened in unity, care, and holy order. How can we learn to love Yehovah with all our heart, soul, mind, and being? We can love Yehovah by receiving the place, gift, and measure he has assigned rather than craving another member's role. Love Yehovah by honoring the Ruach HaKodesh as true source of every gift and refusing to boast in what we only received. Love Yehovah by using whatever he has given for the common good and not for private spiritual display. How can we love our neighbors as we love ourselves and as Yeshua loves us? Refuse to despise quieter or weaker members whose place in the body is necessary before Yehovah. Honor differing functions without forcing every believer into the same mold or visible expression. Rejoice in another's member's gifts as part of the body's strength rather than as a threat to your own place. How can we bear one another's burdens? Suffer with those who suffer instead of treating another member's pain as separate from your own. Give greater honor and care to those parts of the body that are overlooked, fragile, or easily neglected. Help one another discern gifts soberly so comparison, confusion, and rivalry do not wound the body. What are the top 3 fruits of the Spirit found in this chapter? 1. Unity, achdot. The chapter insists that many members are bound together by one Spirit into one body. 2. Humility, anava. No member may boast in self-importance or despise another's assigned place. 3. Compassion, rachamim. The body is called to suffer together, honor the weaker parts, and care for one another deeply. What is the mitzvah response, Torah-based? Leviticus 19, verse 18. Don't take vengeance on or bear a grudge against any of your people. Rather, love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yehovah. Command: we will honor every member, seek the common good, and walk as one body under one spirit. What is the Hebrew declaration? Ruach echad. Natha lenu. Matnot rabot. Li tovot. Haguf lo. Navoz. Li aver. Chalesh vilo. Nit chai, bi chachenu, bi Mashiach, echad, onachnu, uvi ahava nisharet. One Spirit has given us many parts for the good of the body. We will not despise a weaker member or boast in our portion. In one Messiah we are one, and in love we will serve. What is the one sentence summary? One Spirit gives many gifts to build one body in love. Now, after having read the chapter and going over it, here are some heart-piercing questions. Where am I tempted toward envy because my gifts is not like another's? Another. Have I looked down on a quieter or weaker member as less important? Another. Do I use what God has given me for the common good or for self-display? Another. How well do I truly suffer and rejoice with the rest of the body? Another. Am I trying to assign myself a place that Yehovah did not give me? Another. What member of the body around me needs greater honor and care right now? Lastly, how can we grow in spirit-led unity without flattening the gifts God distributed? We'll end with the Aaronic blessing using the name. Yehovah will kneel before you presenting gifts, and he will guard you with a hedge of protection. Yehovah will illuminate the wholeness of his being toward your bringing order, and he'll provide you with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yehovah will lift up the wholeness of his being and look upon you and set in place all you need to be whole and complete. Shalom, shalom. We continue into 1 Corinthians.